In this video, we're going to discuss Bootstrap 5 layout system. And the system is defined by a grid. That grid is broken up into 12 columns, and we're going to discuss how to work with those columns. So at the top level, we have a container. So the first example here, we're going to show you how a container system works. And right now we have various different response sizes set to this container. We have 6, as you see here. We have the extra small, which we're not denoting, small, medium, large, and extra, extra large. And each of these numbers here are the breakpoints where they change responsive sizing. So we're going to get padding once we go past that size limit. So if we see here, we're going to go up to 567, and we get spacing on both sides. Medium 768, 992, 1200, and 1400. So if we add that back in here, let's look at how the code looks. So here we just have all of our containers. We have a container dash small, dash medium, dash large, extra large, and extra extra large, and fluid on the bottom, which always spans the whole width. So just note that a container is the very basic part of the grid system. And next up, we'll discuss the grid. So let's discuss Bootstrap grid system. In order to get a grid to work, we need a row, and this row is segmented into columns. We have 3 columns here, and we don't have any size setting on them, so they're called auto columns. And basically, they're going to take up an equal distance of the row. So in this case, these will take up 4 columns, 4 columns, and 4 columns because the grid is 12 columns wide. So just note that we need a container, then we need the grid, and then we need to denote the columns and how we want them to view. So now that we've discussed the grid as denoted by the row and how the columns work denoted by column, let's talk about horizontal and vertical alignment. So first up, let's do vertical alignment. In order to do vertical alignment, we need align items, and then we can define where we want it placed. In this case, we have it set to the center. Well, let's go ahead and place it on the start. And as you see, it popped up to the top. And let's put it at the very bottom. So with start, you can put it at the top. With end, you can place it at the bottom. So let's do horizontal alignment. And horizontal alignment is defined by this justify content. In this particular case, we're putting it at the very start. In order to better show this, we made each of these columns only take up 2 of the column width. That means that between all 3 of these, we're only going to take up half of the grid. And as you see here, we're only taking up half of the grid. So we're going to make this center. And we're going to see it goes in the center. We're going to place this at the end, just like before. We also have a few more we're going to use between. And you see these are pushed out to the side and centered. We're going to do around. And as you see, we're pushed out, kind of spaced on the side. And then evenly, we'll space this out a little bit more equidistantly. So we just went over horizontal alignment, namely justify content, and vertical alignment, align items. Let's discuss offset. So an offset takes up a column position, but doesn't render a DOM element. In this particular case, we're offsetting this row 1 test, denoted here, with an offset of 1. So we take up 1 column position, but we don't render the element. And then the next element, the call to, tells how many columns it's going to take up, in this case 2. So let's look at the first one, call to. We got a border, we have an offset of 1 denoted here, column 2 denoted here, and then the next one is an offset of 2, and then we have a column 2. So that's how you use offset. And the next video we'll discuss responsive, and you can add responsive onto your offsets and also onto your columns, and we'll show you how to do that real quick. So let's discuss grids responsive sizing with columns. So hopefully you can tell I got my code down here. I got the control up here just to show everybody. So I wanted to move this around just to show you what's going on. So we're here with this red colored background control. And when we're at our smallest space, extra small, we have a column width of 12, which takes up the whole row. So we're going to spread this out until we get over 576. And we're going to go a column small of 4. So that's going to take up the whole row too, but everything's going to be spaced out equally. Medium, we're going to go to 3. As you can see, we have a little bit of gaps in between. We're going to go down to 2 for large. And then if we go to extra large, we're going to go to 1. It's going to really shrink. And I'm going to close this to go to extra, extra large. And we go back to a size of 2. So you see, as we change the size of the screen, the columns within the grids will respond accordingly. Now let's show how you can use this with offset. And let's turn this back on. And we'll go down to the next control here. So here we have background info. That's the info color. And we're pushing everything to the start here. It's a little bit different, as before we were pushing them between, so they were spacing out all the way across the row. So we're going to start out with a column 4 and no offset on the column size. Our first offset comes in when we're small. So everything is spaced out across the whole row. Four grid columns for each one equal 12. So we're going to pull this out above small. And as you see, we're offset 1 on the left-hand side. And then we're taking up 3 columns of space. And then the next one, we're going to go up into large. So we're going to go a little farther here. And you're going to see we're going to get an offset of 4. We're going to get a column width of 2. And between those two, it's going to take up a grid of 12. So that's going to trigger what's called column overflow. And it's going to push the next column, which is going to be this row 1 text 3, into the next row. And it's going to take up 2 rows, but it's going to be offset by 4. So you can use responsive sizing for offset and for your columns to get the spacing you want on the device and screens you want, creating code from one place, running in as many places as you possibly can. So I hope now you have a better idea of how the grid system works. Just remember, at the top level, we need a container. It doesn't have to be fluid, but it has to be a container. Then row for the grid setting, and then columns underneath. And you can add your responsive sizing to each one of these here. So thanks for watching the video. Like, comment, subscribe below. And if you want to discuss any consulting services, look for my email in the description. Thanks.